Good morning. Isn't this just the best morning? Yes. Welcome to the weekly multi-platform service of Tri-County Unitarian Universalists based in Summerfield, Florida. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the indigenous Florida peoples. I am Pat Felton, today's service leader. And we're glad to have our minister, the Reverend Kristina Spaude, leading worship today. Welcome back, Reverend Kristina. Hello to our members and friends, and a special welcome to those who might be visiting here for the first time. Unitarian Universalists are united not by a creed of shared beliefs, but by a covenant of shared values. We celebrate that we do not need to think alike to love alike. It is our respect and encouragement of each other's diversity of thought that truly binds us together. For the curious and for the seekers, Unitarian Universalist values and covenant may be found on your order of service and at our website, triuu.org. Our newsletter can also be found there under News and Events. We have announcements, but please, first, mute your phone or place it in airplane mode. Thank you. After a break for the month of July, the grief group will resume this week. We meet here at TriUU the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 11 a.m. If you would like more information, please speak to Lenore Mickelson or Trish Schwartzberg. Are you curious about Unitarian Universalism or interested in learning more about Tri-County Unitarian Universalists? Join the Reverend Kristina and Helene Kirschbaum for our new to UU class to be scheduled soon. In this class, you will explore the values and beliefs of Unitarian Universalism and introduce yourself to the local congregation. To sign up for the class, please add your name to the list in the corner of the room. And here's something fun. Out of 238 food pantries in Marion County, the Second Harvest Food Bank gave the Community of Gratitude of Okalawaha an award for being the #1 food pantry in the county. This is where TriUU makes its weekly donation. Yeah. Very good. This concludes our announcements, and as we now begin the service proper, we will recite our vision statement. Please join with your voice as we recite together. We will be an influential voice for progressive religious values in a diverse community. Our chalice keeper today is Tom Murphy. We invite those of you joining us on Zoom to light your chalice at home.
In my 80s, I don't feel guilty about anything. There's nothing left in the 80s. And my memory, when I finally find my keys, I don't know what they're for. That was Toni Morrison.
Good morning. Good morning. It is good to be back. I feel like y'all are pulling out all the stops. Thank you. Is this on?
You have it muted on your button.
No. Maybe, no. Our opening words this morning. You have to threaten it, I guess, unfortunately. Our opening words this morning come from Rebecca Savage. This is Many Hopes in Our Hearts. Welcome, beloveds, welcome. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy. May our time together honor all the hopes we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. Let us worship together. If you would please rise and lift your voice in song with me for our opening hymn, we sing now together. For our story time today, we have a story from the one and only Gail Forsyth Vale, powerhouse religious educator who offered this story at our ingathering service for General Assembly.
I'm Gail Forsyth Vale, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm an elder white woman with chin-length brown and gray hair and glasses, wearing a colorful jacket today. Be still. Feel yourself breathing in and out. Feel your heart beating rhythmically, dub-ba-dub-ba-dub. Imagine your blood moving along through your arteries, small cells, each with a nucleus, each containing the map that makes them part of you. Each cell bumping and twisting and moving along, endless transfer of energy and nutrients as your blood cells deliver oxygen to all parts of your body. And in that endless motion is the story of our beginnings, the story of how we came from an ancient primordial soup. Once upon a time, 5 billion years ago, our solar system was new by universe standards, and energy was flying everywhere. The Earth was a swirling ball of hot lava, hotter than you can even imagine. It was made mostly of hydrogen with some helium and some oxygen. The seas glowed and swirled, and ancient volcanoes spewed forth lava from the center of the Earth. The Earth was bombarded day after day with comets and meteors, making things even hotter. Meteorites brought with them particles from space, dust from the explosions of stars, carbon, nitrogen, and water, H2O. And in that heat, at that high temperature, the water turned to steam and it gathered all around our planet. Over time, the meteor crashes slowed down and the Earth began to cool. It was a great day when Earth cooled enough for all that steam to become water. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. For millions of years it rained. The oceans of the Earth filled to their brim. When the oceans were filled, was it calm and still then? Not on your life, not on our collective lives. The oceans swirled, and the molecules left behind by meteors and comets began to bump together. There was a most spectacular lightning storm, one that lasted millions of years. Energy from other parts of the universe transferred to the Earth's oceans. The molecules began to clump and hook themselves together in twos and threes and then in whole colonies, chains of carbon, the first RNA. And these carbon chain colonies ate hydrogen, at first from the bubbles that came from the volcanoes on the ocean's floor. And when they had eaten all the free hydrogen there was, they figured out how to split apart the water molecules and eat the hydrogen from them. The carbon chains began to move on their own. They were alive. They were living bacteria. Life had barely begun on our planet when it created a pollution problem for itself. When the living bacteria split apart the water to eat hydrogen, they released oxygen into the atmosphere. The leftover oxygen was poison for the first life on Earth. Bacteria began to die off rapidly. About 2,400 million years ago, it looked like life on Earth was finished. But the moving and bumping, the whirling and swirling, the thunder and lightning, it all continued. Two bacteria merged together. One was swallowed by another and became its center, the nucleus, the protector of the RNA. A eukaryote was formed. But there was still that problem with the oxygen-filled atmosphere. Until some oxygen-eating bacteria, the mitochondria, came to the rescue. They began eating all the poison oxygen and turning it into energy. And in the middle of that primordial soup, something happened that saved life on Earth. The eukaryotes and the mitochondria joined forces. The mitochondria moved into the eukaryotes and began turning oxygen into energy, becoming the engines for what became cells with what we now call DNA. And in the midst of the whirling and swirling, the bumping and jostling, the cells joined together. 700 million years ago, the clumps became jellyfish and worms and an ancient creature called a trilobite, which had a kind of eye. Cells began to take on special jobs, so that some did the eating, and some did the garbage disposal, and some did the looking out for danger, and some did the work of moving around. The primordial soup teemed with life, and that life would continue to bump and jostle and create ever more complicated clumps and colonies and beings, and it has never been still. We are born of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen, of stardust brought by meteors, of water raining down, of the joining of bacteria, of eukaryotes and mitochondria. We are born of motion and energy and chaos and danger and cooperation. This is our beginning. This is our inheritance, and it is with us still, even in our own body.
Of joy, the grief of sorrow, and whatever feeling you're having related to your concerns. After those present have placed stones in the water, our ushers will place stones from each of the bowls into the water on behalf of those who are not present with us in the building and those who have chosen not to or who are unable to come forward. Those online are invited to type into the chat to express what is on your heart. When all the stones have been mingled with the water, we will take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. You may now come forward. Let us take a moment to reflect on our own joys, concerns, and sorrows, and those of others in this beloved community. The chimes will bring us back into this space in a moment, and we will sing our responsive hymn this month, Spirit of Life, for which you may remain seated.
We will now receive our offering. If you are visiting us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. You are our guest, and we are happy to have you with us here today. This is the time in our service when those who wish to make some monetary contribution to our congregation's vision and mission give to support this community and its outreach. I invite the ushers to come forward.
Each year when I return from my time away, I like to share some of what I learned and experienced during our annual General Assembly, the national gathering of Unitarian Universalists from across the country and often the continent and sometimes also the globe. At this gathering, delegates of the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association do the work of engaging in conversation about our faith and voting on how we will move forward on various topics, discussions, and actions. This year, the UUA leadership chose to experiment with the format, doing their part to practice this year's theme of Meet the Moment, Together Everywhere. For years, delegates and potential delegates have asked for something different, and this year they got it. There was a lot of feedback about its challenges. The business sessions ran from Sunday afternoon until Tuesday evening, and the programming ran from Friday night through Sunday lunchtime. Programming was cut, notably the Service of the Living Tradition was not included to allow for this schedule. And this year was supposed to be an all virtual year, but leadership experimented with having a central hub location for people who wanted to gather, including many of our UUA leaders. Then 7 satellite sites were also set up across the country, held in various churches. It was bananas. It seems only appropriate then that our time together began with a service on chaos and creativity. There is no denying that we are living in difficult times. The chaos we feel around us is disorienting and burdensome. And chaos also gives us the opportunity for exploring possibilities, trying new things, and making new ways. There were elections, as there are every year, and one contested election for a UUA board seat. Delegates overwhelmingly supported the candidate put forward by the nominating committee. See, the nominating committee doesn't just exist in this congregation. Terry Grimm. One action of immediate witness was passed: defend against the assault on environmental protections, public lands rules, and the endangerment finding. We do love titles, which condemned an assault on our environment in the form of many new executive orders, laws, and rules changes. AIWs are about something going on in the world that needs immediate engagement and action from UU congregations. This AIW asks UUs to work to restore the rescinded rules and regulations by lobbying state and federal legislators, partnering with environmental and other groups, and more, according to UU World. 4 responsive resolutions were passed. Responsive resolutions are brief advisory statements that express the sentiment of the delegates in response to various reports from the General Assembly. The 4 are: where are the youth? And gratitude for UUA support of youth and emerging adults, both of which called on the UUA to support youth and emerging adults in attending General Assembly, as well as their inclusion in leadership, congregational life, and the life of the association. Also passed were reaffirming our commitment to immigrant justice and relationally grounded organizing, and include concerns about Southwest Asia and North Africa, which the acronym of which is SWANA, crisis, and Commission on Appraisal renewed outreach. There were 2 business items addressing ministry matters, the first of which was UUA Task Force on Ministerial Fellowship Committee Policies and Rules for Interim and Developmental Ministers, which passed, and authority to suspend or place a minister's search on hold, which failed. That is a lot of words so far. So in a breather moment, I want to note that there are a lot of conversations that are happening right now among our clergy these days, related to the future of ministry in this faith and how we care for our ministers collectively and institutionally. Last year, I was asked to join the new UU Ministers Association Good Offices Care Team. Good Offices people are ministers who support other ministers in times of need. There are general Good Offices people and specialists, and I am a specialist in care. While this care can take any shape for ministers on the edge of or deeply in burnout, in high distress, navigating personal issues while serving congregations and others. The team was established first with the goal of serving ministers who have been accused of ethics violations, including misconduct, as they go through the process of having their work and actions assessed until a final decision is made. So while the proposed items this year may not have been of particular importance in your daily spiritual engagement with our faith, they are important to me and to the future practice of ministry within Unitarian Universalism. Although I have so far only worked with a few people who have been accused of ethics violations, what I can share is that our current system is broken and in need of reworking. Thankfully, this work had begun even before these proposals were put forward, but it will be some time before changes, whatever they may be, are implemented. Last item of business. I was not elected, but I was appointed to the Election Campaign Practices Committee this year for a 3-year term. This among the other various ways that I serve our faith. Okay, business done. On to programming. Although the programming portion of GA lasted less than 48 hours, it was still packed. There was a Meet the Moment opening and then closing, as well as wave cohort groups that met throughout the day. I believe there were 11 of them covering a variety of topics, including administration, worship, and innovation. Saturday afternoon, there were also 2 featured speakers. Professor Crystal Simone Smith, currently at Duke, author of a number of books, including our own Beacon Press's Common Sense, 1776, addressed to today's citizens of America. Smith is a poet and uses her poetry as a lens for reading and understanding texts. The second speaker was former journalist, now retired Presbyterian minister, Liz Walker, author of No One Left Alone. Following the Boston Marathon bombing and recognizing the impact of violence and trauma in her own community, Reverend Walker, with others, founded a program called Can We Talk?, which supports those who are hurting, grieving, traumatized, and more, come together to make community and listen to each other speak about their truths as a way to foster healing. The Can We Talk program is the center of No One Left Alone. During the business portion of GA, there were 2 sessions devoted to discussion about the congregational study action issues selected last year: abolition, transformation, and faith formation. And I will say these were 2 of my favorite things. They were such rich discussions, and honestly, I could have listened to them for much longer than they had time for. 2 things in particular that I was struck by from the 2 sessions. First was the definition of abolition that the church, bless you, that the Church of the Larger Fellowship, which was sponsor of this CSAI is using, is this: abolition is a holistic approach to systemic social change that includes, but is not limited to, the abolition of slavery, replacing systems and cultures of violence, coercion, and control with transformative justice and relational policies, and dismantling the prison industrial complex as we know it. It requires the transformation of our society and the replacement of our current public theologies of retributive justice and violence. What hadn't occurred to me was all the ways we punish each other in our relationships. So that gave me a number of things to chew on that has been going on for the last 6 weeks. One facilitator mentioned learning more about abolition as they were parenting their children. Every time we resist punishment and violence against one another, we are practicing abolition. Again and again during General Assembly, what I found myself drawn to was the questions being asked. And the questions from this session, or some of them that spoke to me, were, what would our community look like if abolition was the goal? How can our congregation start building these care systems? Or perhaps we've already started, and how might we build on them further? The second item came from the second workshop about the intersection of abolition and climate justice, or care for the earth. Rachel Mislivy, the UUA's Side with Love climate justice organizer, shared a beautiful essay she wrote for an upcoming anthology on this subject. Rachel also asked questions which were these: what would your community be like if everyone flourished? What are the extractive systems of harm and oppression that treat some as disposable so others can be more comfortable? How can we overwhelm those harms and heal those wounds with community care, partnerships, and intention? The second workshop also included speakers who shared on the topics of the intersection of abolition and the ICE occupation in Minnesota, the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois and transformative justice practices, spirituality and abolition, and the Church of the Larger Fellowship's work with abolition. The section on spirituality and abolition, led by the Reverend Jason Leiden, includes the theological context from our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Also, a note, as of General Assembly, the Church of the Larger Fellowship is still looking for additional people who are interested in letter exchanges with Unitarian Universalist prisoners, if that might be of interest to you. The CLF serves almost 2,000 UUs who are incarcerated. My favorite part of GA this year was the Ware Lecture offered by the Right Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, Bishop of the Diocese of Washington, who ministers to like 40,000 people, which blows my mind. The first woman to serve that role. She is best known as the pastor who gave the homily at the interfaith prayer service following the current president's second inauguration, in which she urged him to have mercy. Last year, I also preached on thoughts from her book, How We Learn to Be Brave, Decisive Moments in Life and Faith. I'll spend more time talking about the Ware Lecture later this year, but in some ways it felt like a love letter to UUs. She clearly took time to learn about who we are, having read our most recent Unitarian Universalist Pocket Guide, among other things, and she even responded directly to concerns raised by UUs about her having been selected as the Ware Lecturer because she hasn't publicly voiced an opinion on the issue of Israel and Palestine. Bishop Buddy spoke about courage, which she observed grows in community and in spiritual connection. She encouraged us not to ask the question, why is this happening, but instead, who are you called to be now? In response, she lifted up the stories of Esther from Scripture and Frodo from Lord of the Rings. It was that moment that I felt like she really knew us. Buddy first met the president of the UUA, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, in Minneapolis earlier this year when clergy were called to protest the ICE occupation. Buddy said that we UUs are often the firsts when it comes to justice. I will paraphrase her as saying that we are often trailblazers, leading the way for others. This is a necessary and good role to fill, and she is grateful that we are the ones that are doing it, but noted that it can also be challenging as we wait for others to catch up with our dreams. She thanked us for embodying our truths, living as if they were already true, living as if what lies beyond the horizon of possibilities was our reality now. I am looking forward to digging into the whole lecture later. Last, the music was banging at the worship services, featuring both hymns from our new online hymnal, Sing Out Love, as well as song from the Singing Resistance movement that has been so important this last year, and that I am hoping that we will bring into some of our worship services over the year. The content of the services was also great, and I want to share some things from the last service, the Sunday morning service. That service was led by Reverend Jennifer Youngson Rue. Here, together, she says, is where we practice love as a response to the love that first summoned us. I'd say that love is one that we carry with us, and when we connect with it, we shine on the world. Reverend Rue observed that only love could build a future worth living in. Only love could build a future worth living in. That line has had me thinking a lot. Our new shared values place love at the center of our faith, and that line invites us to think about love in a multidimensional way, calling us forward from the future as we move toward it. From the author M. Scott Peck, she shared the wisdom that love is an intention and a discipline. It is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's inner spiritual growth. And bearing all this in mind, she asks, how do we become disciples of love? Or put another way, how do we practice being love bearers? I have said before that I believe we as UUs are in a place more fully extracting ourselves from Christianity as Christianity once did from Judaism, and the questions that were posed during General Assembly this year affirmed for me that this is the case. We have some answers, yes, but mostly we are relying on the questions to guide us in both our work and our dreaming. As Austrian poet and writer Rainer Maria Rilke once urged another young poet, may we too find our way to living the questions. If you would please rise now and lift your voice in song with me for our closing hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Tom Murphy will now read our chalice extinguishing message.
Where did all the time go? The years went fast, but the days went slow. Man in the mirror is older than me, standing where I used to be. Had my share of ups and downs, lost my way, then turned around. Every road I took, they led me right here where I meant to be. Somewhere along the way, the future became yesterday. I didn't notice it day by day. Time just kept slipping away.
Thank you for that uplifting message, Tom. I invite anyone who has just begun to visit with us and who wishes to do so to introduce themselves. Please raise your hand and an usher will bring a microphone to you. Please speak directly into the top of the microphone so we can hear you better.
Hi, my name is Kevin Brown. I'm a past member of TriUU back in 2020s and before. My husband and husband Bruce O'Donnell and I were members here. And I'm sad to tell you that Bruce just passed away on July 19th. I'm here visiting my sister and brother-in-law in the Villages for a bit, and glad to be back.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't know if I should introduce myself because I was here last year, but my work schedule, I work at a residential facility, was wrong for me getting here on Sunday, and now it's changed, so I'm back. And thank you.
What's your name?
Oh, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. If you would like to receive regular communications on upcoming TriUU events, please take and fill out a guest card which will be available at the door after the service. If you are interested in learning more about TriUU through our New to UU class, you may sign up at the table at the back of the room and you'll be notified when the new class is scheduled. We are interested to hear how you experienced this hybrid worship service and/or what you took away from the sermon. For those who are on Zoom, raise your hand to speak or type your comment in the chat box. For those here in the Chalice room, please raise your hand. If there's time, Reverend Kristina or I will call on you. Please share your name and speak directly into the top of the microphone so we can hear you better. If you wish to be seen on the monitors and by those attending via Zoom, please stand directly in front of the pulpit. Please keep comments brief and on topic. No announcements, please.
Joyce.
Joyce Mills. I especially liked the science part of it because to use science is very important. So I especially like that history of how I became.
Thank you, Joyce. Took a lot of work to get you here.
Hi, Richard McGarry. Richard McGarry. This was not a typical sermon, but it was probably, for me anyway, one of the best sermons I've heard you speak.
Oh.
And I was very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, last year I put together a document that had links to various things for General Assembly that are public and accessible. And I did that again this year, and I'll be sending that out. So if anything sounded particularly interesting, you'll get the links for it soon. Yes, Charles.
Thank you.
Basically, there are a couple of things in the presentation today that I found were fascinating. First, I'm a biologist, and that presentation in the beginning was really good, and it comes from a book called The Age of Carbon. I can't tell you the author, but I strongly recommend you read it. It's fascinating. It really is good.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, my wife and I went to the UU gathering in Providence, Rhode Island, back when we first came. And it is a great experience. I mean, it just surrounds you with stuff you never thought of. So it was really a great experience. And it's really nice to be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Peg.
When I think about conventions of leaders, I think so often that their topics, their subject matter is esoteric, that it's not firmly grounded in the kinds of things that we live with and the questions that we have and the answers we need on an everyday basis. I find it very heartening that the things you're talking about are exactly the things that affect us in this congregation, exactly the same questions we're asking, and exactly the same energy needed to get us to a point beyond where we are today. So I appreciate that match being such a good one.
Yeah, thank you. I think, yes, it is very heartening for us to remember that we're not alone, right? I think sometimes in our congregations, we can get really used to like, these are the people we see and these are the things that we do. And it can be easy to forget that there's an entire faith that is around us and that other congregations are going through the same, and our association itself is going through the same thing that we're going through right now. All right. Well, thank you all. Our closing words today come from Elena Westbrook. This is Holy and Generous Love. Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long, and we can bend it toward justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform our lives.
Definitely energizing and wonderful music this morning. Thank you. Join us for coffee and fellowship in the back of the room till 11. There is a sign-up sheet on the table near the bookshelves to coordinate with others who would like to go out for brunch. We share our minister with our sibling congregation in Eustis, where she will lead a second service. Reverend Kristina will be here till 10:20-ish for those who'd like to talk with her. Come and say hi. The Zoom room will stay open for 20 minutes.